Hi guys, I'm Gracie.
And I'm Damon.
Welcome to today's video.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. We are still in the birthday mode, celebrating our babies just turning 2 years old. And somebody said, they turned terrible too. I said, no, they turned terrific too, because we cancel words. People are not going to speak things into our children's life when we are just sitting there. Listen, whenever someone speaks something concerning your child, you cancel that word there.
Yeah, immediately.
Like someone just says, hey, mtoto wako anakuwaga mwaganu, and you're just seated there like you're not doing anything. You're supposed to counter it, no? Akwagi mwaganu. I don't know what that means.
Naughty.
Oh. Yeah, he's not naughty, he's just expressive. Like you just cancel.
Yeah. We are two. You know, even us, we are 2 years old. We are two, like as parents. We are 3 years old. We are 2-year-old parents.
Wait, we're not turning 3 years in September? Or in July?
That's as a married couple, not as parents. We've been parents for 2 years, not 3. We've been married for 3 years.
So we've been married we had been married for a year before
they were born.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, but they stole, like we were pregnant. Now, where I was getting confused. Yeah. I was thinking, like, wait, if we've been married for 3 years and our children are 2 years old, see, then that means that we had a whole year to enjoy by ourselves before they came.
Wow.
Then it just hit me. There was 9 months where we were pregnant.
Wow. So, like, my husband has this reasoning of, should we have waited?
Yes.
To have children?
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, for us, we didn't have an option of waiting or not waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I, in all honesty, did not bother getting on birth control because I've been told my chances of getting pregnant were slim.
Mm-hmm.
And so, surprise!
Baby, you guys, listen. Me, I wanted to wait at least a year or 2 years at least. You know, I've had stories of how, like, before we got married, like, the excitement was, like, I just want to spend time with my girlfriend, I want to hang out, or with my wife, like, go to the beach, go on vacations, you know, just be naked around the house or something like that. Like, just be yourselves for that 1 year before, like, children come. But it looks like God had different plans for us. And so the question that I was asking is, did we miss out on something because we had these kids too soon?
I honestly don't think so. Yeah. Even me, I was of club. I was team wait 2 years before getting pregnant. But you see, like, for us, our babies were a miracle. So it's not something we planned. It's not something we sat down and discussed. God decided, here they are, they've come, pam. And now, considering how our life is unfolding, I really appreciate the fact that they're already here.
Yeah.
Because if we decided to wait the 2 years, I'd probably be pregnant now.
Yeah.
So can you imagine me pregnant now with everything that's going on with our lives?
Yeah.
It would have been a hectic ride. And not because it's not doable, but I feel like, imagine now it's 18 minus 2. So now we have 16 years. After the 16 years, we have an empty nest, and then we can do whatever we want. You know, the things we wanted to do when we were younger?
Yeah.
Now imagine now in our 40s, we'll be rich. So we can do them without worrying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually very interesting when we look at it, because these kids, like, for us, we know ours was a blessing directly from God.
Yeah.
And there's a scripture that says that He makes everything perfect in His own time. Like, He makes all things beautiful in His own time. My
favorite scripture.
And the thing about the timings of God is that what might not look like good timing to you is perfect timing with God. Because God doesn't miss on time. Like, if God decides this is the time, then you just have to glory yourself and just grow in the now.
Yeah.
There's a sermon series that Pastor Mike Todd was doing the title was Here is Holy. And he was talking about how we need to learn how to enjoy the now moment as we wait for the future.
Yes.
Because most of us miss out on the glory of now because we are worried about, we are waiting for the future, we are planning for the future, we are planning this and planning that. But at the end of the day, we know that we might have our own plans, but God's plans will always prevail over our plans.
True.
And we can say we have a free will, like you can just sit down and plan your life. Maybe you just didn't plan your life right. Let me tell you, even Jonah had planned his life. He planned his life to get on a ship and go to Tarshish. And right on that ship, the timing of God took him back to where he needed to be.
Yeah.
And so it's actually very interesting because looking back is when now I get to see what having these children for us did. So the question is, did it ruin our marriage, or did it affect our marriage, or did we miss out on anything? First of all, we didn't have anything to compare it with. We didn't have it's not like I was married before in a relationship where we didn't have a child, so now there's something I'm comparing with. So there's no that comparison by the grace of God, that is. And then now also, when you look back, you look at the things that God kept you from, because children ground you so many ways, because they bring out a maturity in you that you never knew you had.
Yeah.
Because when you live life for yourself, it's just you have no responsibility. You're okay.
It's very interesting because I was going to say we wouldn't be where we are if we didn't have these kids.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have grown as much as we have if we didn't have the kids.
Yeah.
We would probably still be comfortable in the house we lived in when we got married. Like there would have been nothing to prompt us to grow. I feel like sometimes, like he said, it grounds you. It gets you to a place of, hey, and you gotta move.
Yeah. It's actually interesting. I never used to notice pregnant women while driving until my wife became pregnant. And now I stop for pregnant women. Like it's an instinct thing. Like nowadays, like when I see small kids, the way I look at them now is different from when I looked at them before. Because before, it's not that I didn't care for children. But let me just say, I used to pass them without noticing them. But now, like, I can notice children and look at them and actually be bothered by, if it's something bad, like actually be bothered by it. Because I believe that God wanted us to become parents to our physical children before he blessed us with a ministry where we could have spiritual kids. So that you could know how to treat them and have the compassion and know what it means to be a father and what it means to be a mother to someone. So that's why I was saying, like, the timing of God is definitely like it's always perfect. So beforehand, God had already planned that a day like this we would be pastors of a church with young people. And most of them coming from places where some of them were never fathered, they didn't have fathers, or they just had weird relationships. And as spiritual mentors, now you can be able to relate with them. You can feel that, that thing of a parent. Because parenting is, if you listen, for example, for the single people who are watching, you live in a house by yourself. You only have to worry about yourself. You can go and eat at your friend's house and come back and sleep and you'll be fine.
That's it,
That's okay. But now imagine you have this whole other human being whose sole existence is dependent on you. Like, if you don't provide for that child, probably they will die of hunger, they won't have clothes, there will be malnutrition or whatever. So it is your responsibility to figure out, like, what are they going to eat? What are they going to wear? How are they going to...
What's time to change their diapers?
You understand, like things like that. Like it makes you become grounded, and it brings out in you strength that you never knew you had. So that's the beauty of it. And it saddens me because, like, nowadays I see a lot of young guys running away from the responsibility of fatherhood because they're scared about it. And I feel like it's something that we should talk about, because we live in an era of a pandemic of single mothers. What would you say about that?
Women should depend. I feel like I've been shoved in the deep end. I feel like fathers are very essential in children's lives. Regardless of your situation, fathers are very, very crucial in children's lives. And unfortunately, we don't have many male figures who can represent the father. In as much as, like, now, like you said, in single mom households, you you'll find that some of them, most of them, can't even trust a brother to be a father figure to their children. Because, like you said, a lot of men are running away from the responsibility of fatherhood. I'm not doing that. And we don't blame them, because we are a generation, the millennials, we are millennials, yes. The millennials are a generation that have come from a lot of fatherhood wounds. Like we are very hurt by our fathers. And so, since we did not get the ideal picture of fatherhood we expected, it becomes hard to then be a representation of a father when you didn't have an example of what that looks like, if that makes any sense. And it takes someone a lot of being deliberate to be like, okay, now I have fathered a child, how can I deliberately be a better father than what I saw? And I actually applaud my husband, because for him it was a struggle. They didn't have the best relationship with his dad, but he's really been a very deliberate father, like very present, very in tune with what's happening. Sometimes Dan is just asking me, has this diaper been changed? And I remember at some point it used to bother my mother when he'd ask for why the diapers are changed the kids. And you see, it's a generation of gap, which we allow them. But we really need to be more intentional as human beings with the relation we want to create with the generation that's coming up. Because if we are not that fatherhead, motherhead, the representation of what God would have wanted a mother and a father to be, then we will lose the generations in entirety. Yeah.
Have
we digressed?
No, we've not. We're still on topic. How has parenting for 2 years been?
Yes.
These are thoughts that we constantly have,
Yeah.
and these are things that we are constantly confronted by.
Yeah.
Because, like, have you ever gotten to a point where you, and this might be a bit sensitive to ask, but like, have you ever gotten to a point where you wished that you didn't have children? Honestly speaking.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Maybe when they were very small,
Yeah.
when I was, at some point, I think I was falling into depression.
Yeah.
My husband was telling me, Grace, when you laugh, I get scared, because I'd have outbursts of laughter, and it wasn't cute.
Yeah.
And you tell me I'd rather when you're crying, because I know you're expressing your real emotions. When you start laughing, I get worried. At that point, I was like, was this worth it? You know, like when you've not slept for I don't know how many hours, they are crying non-stop, and it's not just one, it's two. When you have more than 10 bottles to wash, and you see, for me, this happened in the middle of a pandemic. It wasn't easy to get a nanny. And if you want to get a nanny, you have to test them for COVID. They come to your house, wear a mask for about at least 10, 14 days, not interact with the baby. So you have a nanny in your house, but they can't help you. They are watching from a distance. And then after they actually interact with the child, it's only been 2 weeks, it's not working. So you have to send them away and get someone else. So it was quite stressful. So at that point, I think I could say I was like, hey, man, what did I do? Like, was this what I expected this to be? But right now, oh my God, I cannot imagine life. Like last week, they were their grandparents, and by day 2, I was crying. Ask my husband. I'm like, I want my children. Can we go get them at 11 p.m.? Because I usually go check on them at 11 p.m. at 3 a.m. So it's 11, and I have not to go check on. Like the house is so quiet. So I was actually stressed. So I feel like they grew on me, and I love them. Like right now, nothing can make me imagine not having them.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
That's amazing. I think I've asked that question because I wanted to go some. Do you feel like you would have been a better parent by yourself?
By myself, how?
Like without me in the picture?
No.
Yeah.
I would not.
Why is that?
I feel like I'd have been those parents who usually take children to their grandmothers and then run away. Like, 5 years, I'll come back after 5 years, see you.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have had, and that's because there is a level of stability that he brings to parenthood. In terms of, I am very, okay, let's put it this way. I grew up very cushioned. Like, my life has been, I've in my growing up, I've never felt the ground, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
Like, I've always been cushioned. I've been on top of 10, 30 pillows maybe.
Mm.
But he has almost felt the ground, or maybe felt the ground, if that makes any sense. Like, there's a point where there was no cushioning. And that helps me in terms of he can be able to tell me, imagine, babe, it's okay. Because there are times I overthink. I am an overthinker. I can overthink the world to its end. Like, I overthink. And he helps me sometimes to realize, are they fed? Have they slept? Do they have clothes? They're good. And I think without that, I'd have gone crazy a long time ago. Because when you have kids, there's so much that children need and require from you. And being an overthinker, if one thing is missing, it might not be the most vital. Because, like, my children have never lacked diapers. We thank God for that. Because I can imagine no children without diapers you have to wash. But, like, I'm just saying, like, there's times where things have not been as rosy as, life looks rosy on pictures. When you're on the ground, it's not always rosy.
Yeah.
And so in such moments, he's helped me to realize, babe, we're fine.
Yeah.
So no, I would not have hacked. No, I don't think. I am not a strong woman. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Strong woman. No. You're a baby girl.
I'm a baby girl.
You're a queen.
I'm a baby
queen
girl.
Yeah,
I'm a baby Yeah.
No, but I feel like it's unfair how our generation of men have allowed women to take the role of a father. In most instances, in most cases, because most of the people that I deal with and that I interact with, especially in ministry, you will find most of them are single women who, like, they're just single women, and most of the time, like, you'll find that the man doesn't take responsibility and doesn't care and things like that. So I think like that's something that we need to really address. So you can comment down below if you think that we should actually talk about the gender roles in parenting and how all those things affect each other, because I feel like it's very important for men, because we live in a generation where women were empowered, but being empowered as a woman is not bad, but being empowered as a woman does not mean taking power from a man so that you can, you understand?
I love
it's
that.
supposed to just lift you up, and as well as lift up the man. It wasn't supposed that now we are strong women, men should now take the position that we were in. Like, now they should be subdued.
I think the unfortunate part was, as we were being empowered, no one cared about the boy child. So you guys were left to fend for yourselves, and that happened.
And so now you have a generation of men who are okay with just sitting at home and living with an older woman for them to pay their bills and to take care of them. Not even an older woman. Some of them would allow the wife or the girlfriend to take the role of a man. And I feel like maybe we should talk about that in another video. So if you can comment on this video and get to 100 comments, then we will definitely talk about that video. Talk about that, because I feel like it is a conversation that needs to be had. The thing of men actually taking the position of men, how they were supposed to be, and women taking the position of women, and understanding that submission is not necessarily weakness. And you understand, and men understanding that you having authority over the woman does not mean that now you crush her and you understand. So the God's positioning, the way God wanted things to run and things to operate, and how he wanted us to be fathered and to father, I think is something that we definitely need to talk about. But if you're out there and you're a man and you've not been taking care of your child for whatever reason, man, it's time for you to step up. Like, you just need to step up and take care of that child, because understand this, God, listen, if you are mature enough to sire a child, you're mature enough to take care of that child. Whatever thing you want to tell yourself is a lie, but that child is your responsibility. And it is bad, and it is unfair, and it is most definitely unfair for that child, and you will be judged for it. You will be judged by God for neglecting your own child. So you need to go back and find whatever way. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get back to with the person if the relationship was toxic, or if it wasn't working, then you don't need to do that, but you just need to at least be able to take care of your child, because every child deserves a father, and every generation in every generation, not just that child deserves a father, not just for you and not just for the child, but for society in general.
Yes.
Because we want to stop that cycle of children growing up without fathers.
Yeah.
Because there is something that builds in a man that cannot be altered and cannot be built by women.
Wow.
Because women are created to nurture and to smother.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, you will find a lot of men now who are raised by single mothers. They were very smothered, like they were wamebembelezwa sana. So now when it comes to time for them to step up, like, it becomes very difficult. And so sorry.
On that point, I wanted to clarify, let's say, that taking care of your child does not mean sending child support.
Yeah.
Sending child support is fine, but you need to be present.
Yeah.
Whether it means one weekend or every weekend or 2 times a week, just being there for your child to see you, to relate with you, to interact with you, that's what we mean by stepping up. Because I think the narrative has been sold also of they don't send child support. So it becomes, it's all about money. It's not about you stepping up as a father, being an actual father figure. Because being a father is not paying bills. It's part of it, but it's not all of it. Yeah.
It's about giving identity to your own seed, like giving identity to your child. It's very interesting because I had a conversation with someone and they were telling me they have been tracking their roots. And it was very noble for them to say that they've been tracking their roots because they want to understand what generational patterns are they fighting and what do they need to break. So they have been tracking, like, who was my father, who was his father, how are people on that line behaving, who was my mother, who was their mother, how did they behave, how did my grandfather carry themselves. Because when you look at those patterns, then you can be able to see, because certain things are passed down genetically, but most of the things are passed down because of socialization and how someone has been groomed and grown. And you will find that sometimes and that's why mentors are good, because when you have a mentor, you will notice a mentor becomes a kind of a father, because he pours himself into you and his culture, his belief system, how he handles things and how he takes care of things. And that's why when you look at a person who has worked with a mentor long enough, you will begin to see the tendencies of the mentor in this other person. So just because you provided seed does not make you a father if you're not giving that child culture and identity. So it's very important, and it is bad for you to let your child be given identity by somebody else who is foreign. So you need to really guard what God has entrusted to you, because you will be judged for it. Me, I'm telling you, like, you will be judged for that child that you left alone. That when that child needed a father, you were not there. That when they needed someone to counsel them, someone to cover them, someone to be a voice in their lives, you were not there. So we pray that all of you guys will just find the strength to be able to go back and to be fathered. And if you're a single mom, allow the father of your child to father his child. Like, there's nothing worse than taking your frustrations and your issues with a person and transferring them to the child. Because the child did not have an issue with you. It was you two who had an issue with each other. So why should the child suffer because of something that you two were unable to solve? Like, I feel that women should also allow men who are willing to take care of their children. Like, give them opportunity to get to know their child. Give them opportunity to grow them. Not for you, because it's not for you. It's for the child's own good. So even bad mouthing the father of the child in front of them, like, they don't need to hear that. They don't need to know those things. Like, you just need to allow it for the benefit of all of you.
Wow. We have...
God has no mistakes.
He has no mistakes. I had a point and now it's vanished, but it's okay. I think because this is a conversation we're supposed to have later, but it's good that we've touched on it. But on the point of having kids early, young, I feel like the best thing that God ever did for us was give us these children. Because the amount of love those children have, the amount of concern. Like, my son won't let me leave the carpet without slippers. Mama. And I'm like, that's just, and it's not something I've taught him. He it's just natural for him, you know. And it's like, parenthood is a different kind of love. Like, that's what I'd say. Like, there's being loved by your parents, then there's loving a spouse, and then there's being loved by your children or loving your children. It's a different kind of love. So no mistakes. God does not make mistakes. I feel like God was very intentional. And also there were answered prayers. Anybody
Sure.
who knows me from high school knows I had cried.
Yeah, for twins.
For those, I call them, there are people who DM me, they're like, oh my god, Chris, you've been talking about your twins since high school. And I'm like, that's the power of telling the Holy Ghost what you want.
Amen.
And you go with confidence because you know you're a son.
Amen.
And in your father's house, you get what you want. Not always, but whether that's a very good point. That's also another point of discussion. In your father's house, you always get what you want, but not always.
Yeah, that's true.
You ask, but you don't always get.
Yeah.
And that does not mean that your father does not love you.
But you will get what you need.
So that's a whole topic.
Amen.
For God, yeah.
Yeah,
We
so-
will be back.
Yeah.
I think we have. He has talked. Learn the power.
Rewind the video. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've not yet hit that subscribe button, please hit that subscribe button and comment down below. Let's get to 100 comments for that. The next segment to continue. Also participate if you have something to share with the rest of us.
Yeah.
Just share Shunet Nation with Jairus. Just share your view or your comment or your 2 cents as well. And you never know who you will bless. So thank you guys. Until next time.
Bye.